Jesus heals an official's son in Capernaum. The sun blazed brightly over the rolling hills of Galilee as Jesus entered the small fishing town of Capernaum. His reputation as a teacher and miracle worker had begun to spread like wildfire across the region. Stories of his turning water into wine in Cana and his teaching in Jerusalem had reached even the ears of noblemen and officials. Among those who had heard these tales was a certain royal official. He was a man of influence, used to giving commands and seeing them obeyed. But no amount of power or wealth could shield him from the anguish he now faced. His beloved son lay gravely ill in their home at Capernaum. The boy's fever was relentless, and his breathing shallow. Doctors had come and gone, their remedies proving useless. The boy's life was slipping away. The official's heart was heavy with desperation when word reached him that Jesus, the man said to have divine power, had returned to Galilee and was in Cana, a town several miles away. Clinging to a thread of hope, the man resolved to seek Jesus. Leaving his son's bedside, he set off on the journey, his mind torn between fear and faith. The road to Cana was long and arduous, but the official pressed on, his steps quickened by urgency. When he arrived, a crowd had already gathered around Jesus, who was teaching in the open air. The official pushed his way through, his finely woven robe a stark contrast to the simple garments of the villagers. "Rabbi," he called out, his voice trembling, "please come down to Capernaum and heal my son. He is at the point of death." The crowd fell silent, their eyes darting between Jesus and the distraught father. Some murmured among themselves, curious to see how Jesus would respond. Jesus turned his gaze toward the man, his eyes filled with a mixture of compassion and challenge. "Unless you people see signs and wonders," he said, "you will never believe." The words hung in the air, a gentle rebuke to those who sought miracles for the sake of spectacle rather than faith. But the official's desperation was undeterred. He dropped to his knees, his voice breaking with emotion. "Sir, please," he implored, "come before my child dies." Jesus looked at him, and in that moment, his divine authority shone through. He did not need to go to Capernaum. Distance meant nothing to the Son of God. With calm assurance, he said, "Go, your son will live." The official blinked, taken aback by the simplicity of the statement. There was no dramatic gesture, no elaborate ritual, just a quiet command. And yet, something in Jesus' voice pierced the man's heart. It was as if his words carried the weight of certainty. The crowd watched as the official slowly rose to his feet. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Thank you," he whispered, before turning to make the journey back to Capernaum. Each step was a test of faith. Would his son truly be healed? Or had he left his boy only to return too late? As he neared home, he saw a group of his servants running toward him. His heart raced. What news would they bring? "Your son is alive," one of them cried out, joy lighting up his face. The fever left him. The official staggered for a moment, overwhelmed with relief. "When?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "When did he begin to recover?" "Yesterday, at the 7th hour," the servant replied. "That's when the fever broke." The man's eyes widened as realization dawned. The 7th hour. It was the exact moment when Jesus had said, "Your son will live." A wave of awe swept over him. This was no coincidence. Jesus' words had traveled across the miles, carrying life and healing with them. He fell to his knees, his heart filled with gratitude and wonder. When the official returned home, he embraced his son, tears streaming down his face. The boy, now full of life and energy, looked up at his father with a smile. The man gathered his household and recounted the story of his encounter with Jesus. His faith, once hesitant and desperate, was now unshakable. That day, not only the official but his entire household came to believe in Jesus. The miracle was more than just the healing of a dying boy. It was a revelation of who Jesus truly was, the giver of life, the one who commanded the physical and spiritual realms with authority. Word of the event spread quickly through Capernaum and beyond. People marveled at the power of Jesus, but for the official and his family, the miracle was deeply personal. It was a turning point that transformed their lives forever. Jesus' act of healing the official's son was more than a display of divine power. It was a lesson in faith. The official believed Jesus' words before he saw the evidence of their truth. In doing so, he became a model for others, showing that faith is not merely about seeing, but about trusting in the unseen. For Jesus, the miracle was a sign pointing to a greater truth. He had come not just to heal bodies, but to restore souls, to bring life in all its fullness. And so, in the hills of Galilee, under the bright sun, the story of a desperate father and his dying son became a testament to the boundless power and love of Christ, a story that continues to inspire faith across the ages. The region of Galilee hummed with activity. The streets of Capernaum, a bustling town on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee, were alive with merchants hawking goods, fishermen repairing their nets, and children playing along the shoreline. Amid the daily routines of life, a quiet storm of hope and curiosity was growing. Whispers of Jesus of Nazareth, the carpenter-turned-teacher who performed miracles, had reached even the furthest corners of the region. The news of his presence in Cana, a small town nestled among the hills, quickly spread. Cana was already famous for one of Jesus' first public miracles, turning water into wine at a wedding feast. Now, many wondered if this man could truly be the promised Messiah, the one who could heal the sick, restore the broken, and usher in the kingdom of God. In Capernaum, a man of prominence listened intently to these rumors. He was a royal official, likely in the service of Herod Antipas, the Tetrarch of Galilee. This man, accustomed to power and authority, now faced a crisis that no position or wealth could solve. His young son, his pride and joy, lay gravely ill. The boy had been fighting a fever for days, and despite the efforts of the best physicians and healers, his condition only worsened. The official, normally a man of composure, was overcome with desperation. As a father, he had watched helplessly as his child's vibrant laughter faded to weak murmurs. The boy's frail body, once filled with energy and life, now lay limp and pale. Each passing moment felt like an eternity, bringing him closer to the unthinkable. But then, the news reached him. Jesus was in Cana, just a few hours' journey from Capernaum. The official had heard of this man's extraordinary abilities, how he healed the sick, restored sight to the blind, and cast out demons. If anyone could help his son, surely it was Jesus. Without hesitation, the official made up his mind. Leaving his son in the care of his household, he mounted his horse and began the journey to Cana.